Welcome back. Before we get started on our projects, we are going to explore the Dreamweaver window to familiarize ourselves with the various navigation menus, icons, and tabs. What you see here is the first screen or the first window that you get when you open your Dreamweaver program. And right here we have the welcome screen. From here you can open your most recent documents. From these tabs here you can create a new document. They could be HTML documents, they could be CSS documents, they could be JavaScript, or even XML. To the right, we have several Dreamweaver video tutorials which are very helpful in learning Dreamweaver. At the very top, we have the application bar, and these are drop-down menus, and they are very similar to what we've seen in other applications. We have some icons here. You're going to be using this icon to create a new site. You're going to be using the same icon to manage your sites. Across the top of the application bar, we have the workspace switcher. You can select your workspace from this list over here and also be able to manage the workspace that you have. This area here is called the panels area. And these panels help you monitor and modify your work. We have the insert panel, we have the CSS styles panel, we have the files panel, and a number of others. You open any of these panels by clicking on the tab. If you click on the insert tab, the insert panel opens to your left. The insert panel contains buttons for inserting various types of objects to your document. You could be inserting tables or images or any other media elements. You minimize these or close these by clicking on the double arrows here. You can do the same to Files panel. Click on the Files tab. The Files panel opens to your left. The Files panel lets you manage your files and folders. It also lets you access all the files on your local disk. This is my root folder. This is my subfolder. And I have a number of files here. I have the index.html, sample.html, and test.html. In your website, these files here, these HTML documents will actually be your web pages. And this is going to be your root folder. Again, we minimize this by clicking on the double arrows there. Before we do that, let us go to sample.html. We double click on sample.html and we get this view here. What you should realize is that at the top we have the document toolbar. The document toolbar contains buttons that provides different views of the document window. Those views are the code view, which is actually what we have here now. And the code view is actually the hard coding environment for writing and editing HTML, JavaScript, PHP, or any other code. The design view, this button here, is the design environment for visual page layout. It allows visual editing and rapid application development. In this view, Dreamweaver displays a fully editable visual presentation of the document similar to what you would see when viewing the page in a browser. We have the split view here. In that view, you can view your document in both code and design view. So you can be able to do some editing here in design view. And if you do that, the same changes take place in your code view. You could also go ahead and do some editing in code view. If you do that, well, nothing happens here. but you got to refresh your code by going to this icon here. So if I do refresh, I get my changes affected on both views. So again, before we close this window, we're gonna look at the another properties, another tab that we have at the very bottom of our page. This is called the Property Inspector. It lets you view and change a variety of properties for the select text. And you can come down here and do some changes. You could change your font and a number of other things. Sometimes you want as much space here as you can. So you can go ahead and double click on the properties pane here. If you do that, you kind of minimize it, and then you have a bigger working space. You can bring it back by clicking on it, and then you have the properties, the property inspector come up, and the various selections are now visible. So we're gonna close this, minimize it. We can close our documents by going on the clicking on the X up there. Do we want to save any changes? Right now we do not want to, so we say no, and then we're back to our screen here. What I should mention is that if you go to Window and scroll down to Files and click on Files, our Files panel comes up. So again, we saw that we could get here by going to this tab here. So you can get to the same point by from two different locations. Files, we have the Files panel here. You could do the same to Insert. Right here, Insert panel comes up, and then you can minimize by going to those two arrows there. You could also expand your panels there by clicking on those arrows at the top, so you have a bigger space here. So this was a brief introduction to Dreamweaver Workspace. You are certainly going to learn much more as we design our projects. In the next lesson, we are going to do a brief introduction to HTML. Introduction to HTML will give you a very good foundation for what we are going to learn in the lessons that follow. Again, if you are familiar with HTML basics, you can go ahead and skip the next few lessons and move on to the lesson where we start our project. So see you in the next video.